that girl better call her agent, because that is not the Alicia Silverstone I grew up with. Welcome in as we discuss American Horror Story Season 2 finale, The Lake, starring Alicia Silverstone and a bunch of other actors who may or may not have been in other productions of American Horror Story. Now, first I need to issue an apology to each and every one of you. I'm very sorry. It has been a while since you've heard from me. You've seen me drop content, but I noticed that this actual review should have been up a week ago, and it actually states a lot of what I think of this episode. The reason why it's so late: it is hard to review something you have little or no respect for. There are some reviewers, YouTubers, who feed on negativity, who feed on hatred. They love to drop deuces on things, and they get off on it. It gives them energy. It empowers them to go on and on and on. However, here, kill me like one of your French girls. That is not the case. I enjoy reviewing things I actually like, and the more I like something, the more excited I am to make a video or discuss it with others. And I have to say, this was reprehensible. There have been some misses in terms of episodes of American Horror Story, but I'm gonna say this is one of the worst I've ever seen. As usual, it sets up a great story, but is unable to deliver it. It takes forever to actually get to the supernatural or the horror aspects of it, and by the time it does, you're already bored to death. Pun very much intended, because I honestly thought I was going to die of pancreatic cancer watching this nonsense. That's how old I felt by the end of it. Now, it does do something that I thought was completely original. I was hoping there was more of it. Undersea horror. Now, you know, throughout the years, we've always guessed what American Horror Story seasons were going to be about, and I always wanted one to be about a sea monster. I would love to see one on a ship or based in a submarine. That might be a lot of fun, but they never do anything. There's always in some suburban neighborhood he has these stories, and finally we get one that we can get underwater shots and underwater horror, and there's a lot of horrible things, a lot of horrific things can happen to one under the water. Unfortunately, they don't do a lot with what they're given, and they barely touch the underwater situation. We get about 1.5 scenes before they eventually go to the end. And that was just a missed opportunity. The idea that there is a sunken underground town, complete with a populace in it that drowned many, many years ago underneath that lake, could set up so many things. Now, without butchering the story, without changing much of it, they could have maintained this exact same story. Just get to the point. They really should have had the zombies come out, spoiler alert, to exact vengeance on the father halfway through, and there should have been a fight for survival against the zombies. And finally, they should have given up. It shouldn't have been so easy. There's literally a scene where they have him dragging him to the water, and he's not even putting up a fight. They didn't bother with the actor, because maybe they were like, we don't want you to accidentally fall in the water or get hurt because of water stuff, so just lie there. And it made little to no sense. Now, we're going to hit up the major plot points. So, a brother and a sister and a bunch of other teenagers go out to a lake to find this underground, or should I say underwater town that was drowned once they set up a huge dam in the area over 100 years earlier. Obviously, these are poor, destitute people who had no legal power to fight against this from happening. And when they go to explore it, a zombie is able to grab the brother's leg and pull him under right before his sister's eyes. She's underwater, she's swimming, she has no control over what's happened, and he's dragged underneath the ground. An unbelievable sight. And that's our cold open. And then they go into it. And I'm gonna have to renege on something I once said. I once said if they have a good opening, that the episode is going to go well, and if they have an episode opening that they don't really understand what images they're putting up there, if they don't hold the theme together, you can tell it's going to be a mess. And I actually thought the beginning was done well. The intro, the images, the lake, it's all working well. but still, they really didn't know the story they had before us. Now, it's years later, and the sister apparently had been in the psych ward because she gained depression and anxiety and all sorts of horrible things from seeing her brother drowned like that. Not many people believe her, not even her family, as to how her brother died, and she's forced to come home to finally the star we've been waiting for, Alicia Silverstone, and she's the concerned mom. Back in my day, she would have been playing the starlet, the teenager girl, but in this case, she is now a mom age. Kind of depressing. Actually, very depressing, but that is neither here nor there. And what happens to begin is the investigation of what happened with the brother. They go on an endless investigation looking to see what's going on. And apparently there was some sort of evil lamb deal, and there was a bad guy in the back of the day, and blah, 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 blah. And anytime you think horror is about to happen, it does not happen. They give us a mystery story that wasn't interesting enough to sustain 45 minutes. It really should have taken them 20 minutes to get to the part when they realize that their father is blood related to the man who drowned the town, and that's why they're making them pay. And finally, these guys want revenge, and that's would have been our story. Halfway mark, the family should have boarded up their house and fought off a bunch of undersea zombies as the water just keeps creeping up, trying to drown them. It literally writes itself, and somehow the incompetence of the people working on this show were unable to do it. Now, this is disappointing for multiple reasons. One, it's not great to sit for an anthology show that you can't wait to see all week. You finally sit down to it, and it's this kind of garbage. It's this level of garbage. And the other thing is, this was the season finale. This is supposed to be basically there were 2 episodes that are, 3 episodes that are the most important episodes. Since this was like a half season, there's only 2 really. The opener and the closer. Now, I understand why they picked the opener. Strong connection to everyone's favorite season of American Horror Story, Coven. That's right, I'm talking about the dollhouse. That twist, although I didn't love that twist, I see why people do love that twist. And it makes you say, I'm going to watch more of these episodes. But what were we watching for? So they can waste Alicia Silverstone? So we can watch this subpar writing? I see B horror movies with better plot and better mystery and better twists. One of the Creepshow movies has better production value, I'm saying one of their stories, than any of this. And I really don't think that this particular story was that hard. And so I'm just wondering what is going on. So this actually brings up the question is, what is the fate of this series? Now, if you notice, I didn't give these guys great reviews. There were very few episodes that I really liked. At best, they're mediocre. And however, there are some that are such stinkers that they dragged the score down to failing. I cannot even say that this season passed. And it really is a disappointment. At least season 1 tried something new. It's actually so bad this season that they almost make Endgame and Rubber Woman part 1 and 2 look intelligently crafted. What am I talking about? I don't know. But that was a bizarre statement. I know. I'm sorry. I won't pop off like that anymore. That was an insane thing to say. So what is the fate of this? Now, let's all face it. We're all watching this because we cannot wait for the next American Horror Story. Chapter 11 was supposed to be out in October, and I just don't understand why we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen any trailers or a release date. Now, it's supposed to have something to do with New York in the 70s. I understand that Studio 54 and a bunch of other things are going to be in it. Very New York, probably the punk scene. Obviously, they can, if they've decided to not go low budget, they could film some great horror scenes on the New York subway system. Writing it and having to deal with the crazy homeless is a horror story in and of itself. So we're waiting for this masterpiece to come out, and this was supposed to tide us over, and quite frankly, it did not. Ultimately, at the end of the day, American Horror Stories, Manny Soto and Koto and the rest of them have failed at the simple task of giving us thrills and chills each week. And what I'm saying is, I will review the next one, but with a heavy heart, because I do not think that they gave us what was promised to us, and I'm actually upset about it. I'm really upset about it. I'm assuming Hulu will review it because I know this is well watched. People watch it. People are addicted to the Ryan Murphy thrill rides. At this point of the game, let's face it, he's giving his best thrills to Netflix. Why? Because they're paying him a fortune. I just reviewed the trailer for Dahmer. It's up on the channel right now, and you can see he's really putting his master feats, his master crafted work into these Netflix stuff. So we can at least still have that. But for us who are addicted, we're addicts. Drawn to the needle that is American Horror Story, it might be losing its pizzazz. We might be chasing a high that we can never get back. The real question, my friends, is what did you think of this horror tale? What did you think of the season as a whole? Please let me know down in the comments now. Just because this season ends, this is the thing that launched Kill Me Like One of Your French Girls, does not mean this is where we separate. I'm going to continue to do reviews of trailers, horror movies, and future horror shows. And of course, season 11, if it ever shows its ugly mug. Till next time, ta-ta.